Gaming reviews done quick. Yeah, I'm serious. We're doing this. It's the 1 Minute Rundown. I'm Octrinity, your host, and I've been described by previous girlfriends as sweet, tasty, and delicious. This time, we're running down Candy Crush Saga. Probably the current king of Facebook and mobile gaming. It's a match 3 game where... You know what, skip the usual intro, you know what this is already. It's that game you keep getting annoying notifications about. So let's get to what you're really thinking. Why am I reviewing this? It's not just because the producer was a jerk last episode. See, I'm tired of the reputation this and other so-called casual games get. Yes, this is definitely an example of one, and I totally get why they need to be a thing, because a lot of other games have become complex enough that a lot of people won't even bother trying to learn them. I mean, compared with other games I've reviewed here, this is so simplistic that you can figure out pretty much everything you need to know just by watching someone play, or whose rules can be summarized in about 30 seconds and frequently can be played in short spurts, too. I mean, look at this, or Angry Birds, or 2048 for more examples, and yet, even my more traditional gamer friends have touched those. It's sort of the same that when you go to board game night and occasionally want to go back to the simple classics like Uno or Monopoly in spite of knowing more complex games like Dominion or Settlers of Catan. You might think that these games are meant for an older crowd, but when you think about it, look at the games they probably grew up with. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Arkanoid, Tetris. Games that not only fall into the same description I gave earlier, but also games that, had they been created closer to now, would have also been classified as casual games too, yet have no bad stigma attached to them. For that matter, I've seen other games use almost the exact same game mechanics, like Tetris Attack or Puzzle Quest or that other Puzzle Quest, who again don't have the bad stigma either. So really, people, you're expecting me to think a game is automatically bad because of the platform it's on or the game mechanics it uses? Nope, not buying it. So with that out of the way, let's do the actual review now, okay? For all the bad press this game gets from the so-called gaming community, this actually has a lot of good ideas. Every 15 or so levels, the game introduces a new concept and manages to make creative use of it, and the fact that the goal of each level changes each time means you're not doing the same thing over and over again. But the fact that you need to wait for friends to help you with unlocking new levels makes getting to more fun stuff just annoying. The game is legitimately fun and addictive for a while, up until... I want to say 80 levels in, when the game feels like it ditches creative challenges in exchange for ones that don't give you enough moves to complete your objective, that starts coming off as leaning too heavily into luck, mostly with getting the exact piece falling in exactly the same space. Of course the game adds a few special abilities, but these have limited usage too, with some requiring you to pay real money. No, hold it. Stop the music and roll the bonus points intro again. This is just unacceptable, so I'm gonna put my foot down on microtransactions. You know, that relatively new concept of paying actual currency for things in a game. Usually it's for, you know what, this music is way too saccharine for a rant like this. Can I get something else? I don't think I'm gonna find anything in these. Can you just get me something else with the word Saga in it? Much better. Anyway, microtransactions for the most part come in two varieties. The first is downloadable content, DLC for short, to get more levels, characters, skins, features, and other stuff like that. Honestly, I don't do a lot of this, as I find a lot of it to be overpriced. Skins don't really add anything to the actual game, and extra segments tacked onto a story-based game seem hard to get behind when I've already spent so long trying to go through the story. It's usually already wrapped itself up. But I'm deviating from what these games do. In this case, it's to take a free game and monetize it by adding bonuses. See, here you're spending cash to buy special skills to help you complete a level. Obviously, not all of it's free. There's a little bit earned as the game progresses and occasionally purchased with in-game cash, but that's just more of a tease or a sampling of what you could have. I don't have a problem with free-to-play but paid for extras as a concept. I'll even say that as much as I have no desire to touch League of Legends, I do like their business model of making characters unlockable by cash but having a rotating assortment available each week for free. But the more I play this game, the more I realize they're just trying to crank the difficulty up so high that they're hoping players crack and just buy their way through. And I can't think of a single good thing to say about paying to win. Does anyone really like the idea of winning because they have money to burn? Aside from the people who already have money to burn? I mean, it's banking on addiction to the point that the idea of throwing up problem gambling screens like they do on certain slot machines doesn't seem that far-fetched. And apparently I'm not the only one saying this, since at least one phone market split off the free apps category into something new specifically over stuff like this. King, I see through your scheme, and once again, I'm not buying it. Wait, I still have more time on the review, right? How much time did I have left? I'm pretty sure I sabotaged my own format with that rant, but you notice something here? That this review started out good, but gradually grew more critical, then just was flat-out hostile? Well, that's pretty close to the emotional reaction I had towards this game. So with that in mind, don't let yourself get caught up in this one. Just calmly walk away. I suppose trying to follow up on this was inevitable, and for what it's worth, there are some cool ideas put forth here. All the objectives are completely new, and the idea of a water level so pieces float up will cross some players up. But I have a hard time understanding why Candy Crush even needed a sequel. I'm not trying to jab at the game's questionable quality, this feels like a legitimate question. I mean, the original game is still receiving incremental upgrades, including moving to an alternate set of levels with slightly different rules. All that's really changed in the game engine is the addition of 2 new special pieces, a Swedish fish and a jawbreaker that recolors other pieces. And that's enough to warrant a sequel? It feels like they really could have just moved this over an extension of the other game. Otherwise, it still has a lot of the same detestable features and quirks as the last one, including lives regenerating over time, gates that require enlisting friends' help to pass, and the occasional luck-based level. But in all honesty, this is a better game than the one before, as it does use those detestable features less frequently and generally has more creative levels. I still don't think you should play it, but it is a better game. Usually I take the last minute to call out some similar games, but there's something I couldn't let go when I researched that. Hey, set the music to something I'm not likely to review on this, okay? Oh, good choice. Anyway, when I searched for some similar games, it looks like this market has been oversaturated in the worst way possible. Not only are there a huge number of games just like this one, but a lot of them even involve using the same theme of candy or jewels, as if they couldn't make copying from this or Bejeweled any less blatant. I don't have a problem with trying to improve on a concept. I mean, given how many game concepts exist now, it's kinda tough not to steal at least some feature, even if it's implemented differently. But here it seems like they're just trying to steal an idea wholesale. All that seems to change is whether we're on an endless game or goal-based levels and the types of matches that are allowed. If I had to guess, it's because these games really aren't that hard to develop in the first place, as if people are trying to monetize or at least make the first game they made public. Given that, it's no surprise that half the games featured on King's website fall into this too, and the other half are similar rips from other games. Bubble Witch Saga essentially is Snood or Bust-A-Move, and Papa Pear Saga is Peggle. They've defended themselves by saying fans of the genre can appreciate the differences, and to be fair, they're not wrong. But that's some dangerous territory too. For one, I can cite a pair of dueling dance games about a decade back that were considered close enough that legal action had to be taken. Fast forwarding, some King actually did try to sue out their competitors, even more bizarrely, one whose game predates their own. So, what have I learned from this? Well, for one, these guys aren't good at gaming innovation, they just found a good way to market themselves. 2, the casual gaming market is overflowing with the same old stuff as if everybody wants a piece of that chocolatey pie. 3, King doesn't really deserve respect. And 4th, the producer doesn't deserve respect either. Alright, the producer, this is what you wanted, right? For me to play these for a few weeks so I could review them? Well, I'm about as tired of your game as I am the ones I just played, so I'm taking the fight to you. You forgot something important here. Remember when I said back in the Mortal Kombat episode that I was testing something? Well, you helped me confirm it. I take on some ability of the games I'm reviewing, so since I'm playing these, it means I'm also on Facebook, which means I can look up your personal information and see where you live. Baltimore, huh? I can work with that. So, in accordance with this discovery, check back soon for the next 1-minute rundown where I'll be reviewing a series where I can travel a short distance very quickly. Now, good people of this show, you're welcome to come with me. I can't promise I know what's going to happen, but I can promise that if you do join my group, lunch is on me. Now, who's with me? Yeah!